Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage, and welcome back to our drag truck roller project. Yeah, kind of depressing, but anyway, it is what it is. So tonight's episode is going to be a little bit different. Originally I was planning on starting to cut weight by cutting our cross member, or actually making our cross member longer for our transmission so we could utilize the outer bolt holes rather than the inner bolt holes. Yada, yada, yada. I wanted to start cutting weight tonight. But we made a decision on what we are doing with our engine. So I wanted to go over that, go over our damage, and just kind of go over how that's going to change our plan for the drag truck while it's down. So I'm going to set you guys up on tripod, and we're going to have a little drag truck chat. All right, so we got back from Rocky Top Diesel Shootout. We had some engine issues. Our guys at Hardway Performance listened to it. Sounded like we were dragging a piston. We got home Sunday relatively late. Monday after work, we pulled the head. We found out number one piston was a bit melted. The cylinder wall did not look good at all. A little scuffing on number 4 cylinder wall also. Talked to the guys at Freedom and decided, yeah, we need to send it out there. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday after work, we had the engine already loaded up in the Super Duty, and out to Indiana we went. Drove out to Indiana through the night, slept in a parking lot. As soon as Freedom Racing Engines opened, we offloaded the drag truck engine, and back to Pennsylvania we went. We just did a quick turn and burn, trying to save some vacation time and all that, rather than spend an extra day out there or something like that. Let's just get home and just keep moving on with the program. So that was kind of our process with getting the engine looked at and all that. Before we got home that evening, the guys at Freedom Racing Engines had our engine disassembled and sent us a few photos of the damage. So as you're going to see in the upcoming photos, number 1 cylinder was a little melted, we saw. Well, it was way worse than that. So number 1 piston looked terrible. What we think happened, ring got damaged in the sled pull or the dyno is what we're thinking, or at least what I'm thinking. And then it slowly it kept eroding away at everything, and then it just finally, it had enough, and on the drag strip it just said, no mas. So our blow-by never really got bad or anything. I never had any oil in the catch can. So it just is what it is. Also, while we were on the dyno, made our dyno hit with all that nitrous. I got into the nitrous a little late, and I was definitely on the throttle well past our dyno window. Like Cody, the dyno operator, was like hitting me like, you're done, you're done. Like I was just still pedal to the metal. Maybe it was something with that did it. Maybe it was a sled pull. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Moving on. So they looked at the damage, like an initial inspection, if you will, and tear down. And then we've been having conversations back and forth about what we are going to do and all that. And the guys at Freedom from the very beginning said that they would be able to help us out to try and get the engine back for shides as quickly as possible. But with it being 2021, and every majority of people know the last year and a half, getting parts quickly is not good. There's a lot of people looking for parts that can't find them, so on and so forth, or they're taking an extraordinary long time to get, and we are a victim of that. So number 1 piston I said is bad. I didn't comment that number 1 rod is also bad. The trash from the piston getting burnt down, or the piston burnt bad enough that it actually took the rod out to it. It damaged the rod as well. So we need a rod, a piston or 2 pistons, and we need a sleeve in the block. So parts availability wise, we won't be ready for shots if we keep the engine the same as it is. If we change some things around on the engine, there is a minute, very small possibility the engine will be ready for shots. When I say small, it's a small chance. Probably not going to happen. But it doesn't make things take longer than just putting the engine back together how it originally was, but with a sleeve in number 1. So that being said, what am I kind of hinting around? The decision has been made that we are going to deck plate our engine. So if you don't know what a deck plate is, our engine was assembled like a normal engine, cast iron block, cast iron cylinder head. Now it will be cast iron block, 1 inch thick billet steel plate, cast iron cylinder head. So we're going to have 1 inch billet steel plate between our cylinder head and our engine block. That's going to, I think bolts run through I don't even understand, I don't know the full process. But I believe bolts and stuff run down through that to tie the whole block together and stuff like that. Also, all 6 cylinders will now be sleeved. Just to make everything even stronger. So we're gonna have our cast iron solid Hamilton block with this 1 inch plate with bolts and stuff and sleeves down through the cylinders, and we're just gonna make the entire thing even stronger. Why didn't we deck plate originally? The eventual goal was 2,000 horsepower and to possibly compete in UCC. This is the first year we've really had the truck out and running, and we've competed in UCC and finished 6th place. We did fairly well, and we've made 2,000 horsepower with a very inexperienced driver on the dyno. So obviously we're going to be shooting for even higher later, so deck plate's the inevitable evolution of the engine. Honestly, I was kind of feeling that we were going to deck plate it this winter. I was going to pull the engine, take it to Freedom, have them look everything over, give it a little checkup, and now it's getting the checkup and it's getting the surgery, because with the parts availability, it's already there, it's already apart. We might have our engine back sooner by doing more work to it, which sounds illogical, but that's just the way parts availability is right now for stuff. So that's the damage to the engine. That's the solution that we've come up with and the way we're going. Like I said, we are probably not going to make shides. I've kind of made it that we're not making it. There is a minute chance that we will, but don't really consider it, I guess, which is kind of weird to say. I mean, I have considered possibly going out with the Ford and just running ET, but we might just save the vacation days and do a little extra deer hunting this year. So now that we're going to be deck plated, what does that mean? So like I said, we're going to have that 1 inch steel plate. Means the head moves up, and our intake manifold will be 1 inch higher. So this brake booster right here, which was about a quarter to a half inch away from our intake piping, 90ing into our intake, now needs to go up 1 inch. Our intake piping coming from the intercooler, from the turbo to the intercooler, and from the intercooler to our intake, that's going to need to be modified. We can't just cut it and then now our intake piping is going to be sitting an inch back. We need it an inch up. So we might only need to add a half inch or whatever that comes out to. So we need the engine for that, but the brake booster can move up an inch, and we know that we should hope that that would be good. But there's other things that obviously that we don't think of offhand. Our exhaust pipe, probably will need an inch cut off of that. Our fuel lines, some of our fuel lines and stuff might need to be modified. So, needless to say, we have our work cut out for us, and the original plan from the last video has certainly changed. So, those are the changes that I'm aware of. I talked to the guys at Freedom and said, hey, is there anything I'm not thinking of? And they're like, here's what I got in my mind. And they're like, nah, it sounds about right, Obviously, if like moving this brake booster was going to be a big deal, we'd abort the whole deck plate thing, but I don't think this is going to be a problem. We have time. Our weight savings program that we're going to go through, like in the last video we talked about, that's going to get snipped. Maybe we will get to some of the stuff, but this is the priority right now, getting ready for the deck plate setup. Another thing is I would like to kind of take this seam here on the firewall back. You know, it doesn't need to, just where the engine is. So like where this ducts down here and here, I would like to smooth that out to the rest of the firewall just to give us a little more clearance, getting the engine in and out, pulling the valve cover, so on and so forth. But yes, this presents some new obstacles, if you will. And the big one that really sucks, you guys know how hard pressed I've been pushing the cut weight and every ounce counts and all that. This deck plate's going to add about 50 pounds to our engine. So 1 inch thick steel plate, 1 inch longer head studs, 1 inch longer push rods, 1 inch longer rods, you know, from the crank to the piston. So yeah, we got our work really cut out for us now cutting weight. We have added 50 additional pounds that we now have to get rid of. But it is making everything stronger, so it's good weight to add. Stinks, but it is. This will be like the strongest version of our engine it could possibly be. This is the next step, is going to a different material block wise. So we are not there yet. We're going to keep moving. My camera keeps flopping around, but we are going to keep moving forward with our solid Hamilton block and keep running this year. I want to obviously finish out the ODSS season. Hopefully we will be ready for the hard way race, and then I believe Rudy's fall race. But I still want to run the truck. So this would give us, we'll consider August a wash, September, October, maybe a little bit of November that we can run a truck. We still have like 2.5 months so we can get this thing down the track. So I have goals. We're going to make other changes along the way to the truck, to our setup. We're going to try some things, and having this downtime, we're going to try to evolve the truck to the next step. So when we go next year to the ODSS races, I still plan on running Pro Street. And when we go to UCC, I hope to have the truck in an even higher level than it is now. So this was something, like I said, I was planning on doing this winter. Our timetable has changed due to kind of parts availability. The guys at Freedom told me, if this was 2019, before all the mess of 2020 and 2021, said you would have it by Shides. Wouldn't be a problem. You know, they would be able to have sleeves, rods, pistons, everything we need right away, and it wouldn't be an issue. So it's just the world we're living in. I'm certainly thankful that it looks like we will be able to have it in a time frame around Shides. That I'm thankful that it's not like, you know what, some of these parts are 6 months out. Let me put it that way. Like, you're done. We might have the truck back before the end of the season, and I'm thankful for that. So yeah, all right, well, that's our update on the truck. Obviously, I have changed kind of what I was thinking of doing. I was thinking of doing a transmission cross member tonight. Now I need to take all the parts I stuffed into the front of the truck and move them out of the truck so we can get to working on our brake booster and steering wheel assembly, this whole thing, so we can get this moved up, because that definitely needs to be moved. So anyway, I've been rambling on for way too long. Had plans to get some work done in the garage tonight. We made a pivot because now we have a decision of exactly what's going on with the truck. So I'm thankful that we should have the truck back before the end of the season, and we will be able to get some more running out of the truck, learn some more, and hopefully get this thing to an even higher level next year for UCC and come out. I want to come out Pro Street, Rudy's next year, and I want to come out swinging. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're excited about the whole deck plate setup. I know I am, and I'm really excited to hopefully have my engine back before the end of the season and all that. So hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe down below. Catch you guys on the next one. Get out in your garage, get the wrenching on your truck.